The Stand Independent website and this conference and our effort is a way to teach and inspire people to become less dependent on our surrounding society. Now let's see if this advances. Yes. This has nothing to do with money. Our motives are not monetary. Nobody is getting paid a nickel. Nothing is being sold here. But we seek to help any men and women to become more independent of the things in our society that we have become dependent on. Many people have given a substantial amount of time and effort, all on their own, to put this conference together. We have become so very dependent in our society on systems that are just doomed to fail from time to time until the consumption decreed has made a full end of all nations. My sister just had her freezer go out and lost a whole freezer full of meat. That meat was dependent on a continuously functioning grid. By show of hands, how many of you have experienced a power outage? Yeah, that's pretty much everybody. Okay, now, second show of hands. How many of you currently have meat frozen in a freezer? That's pretty much the same group. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that our power grid and refrigeration and air conditioning and grocery stores and propane stoves and gasoline and automobiles and flush toilets, these are miracles that have made our average citizen more comfortable than royalty of prior times. Here's William III seated on his throne. Now the thing on the right, that's a chair, but the thing on the left, that's his throne. But we have become dependent on these systems. None of the systems that I mentioned and that are listed here were a thing when my grandfather was born. None of him and his peers were dependent on any of these systems, but we are utterly dependent on them. The phrase stand independent comes from a revelation that Joseph Smith recorded in March of 1832. The phrase stand independent in that revelation has nothing to do with some lone prepper holed up in his bunkhouse, thumbing his nose at the rest of society. But it anticipates a society of equals. That's in paragraph 2. Preparing themselves by obeying God's commandments to them as a people. In short, it anticipates Zion. That's in paragraph 3. So food storage is one way we can become less dependent on things like grocery stores that have to be there continuously flowing and continuously stocked. We've created a website to help. The web address is standindependent.com. Another show of hands. How many of you have been on that site? Okay. As you enter the website, there's a green menu link, and you see it there. Once you click that, you enter into a submenu that will show a series of choices, like one on foods, one on methods, one on supplies, etc. Under the methods section, you've got a whole another submenu. One on freeze drying, another on refrigeration, another on dehydrating, etc. So under the refrigeration section, there's two ways to refrigerate without electricity. For example, there's a section on Zier pots, and Zier pots are displayed here. That's a method used in Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. To cool their food without refrigeration. There's also one on root cellars that'll explain how to build a root cellar with some helpful links, like the one shown here. Under the dehydrating tab, there's a link for plans to build this nice dehydrator. The website has pages on things you've probably never heard of, techniques like confit and roulettes and schmaltz and biltong. Biltong is a technique used by Peter Morkel and his family. I hope you'll see his display today and eat some of the biltong that he has out for your enjoyment. Have you ever heard of storing eggs by water glassing? You can store eggs for as much as a year or longer using this technique. And I hope you'll see my daughter's display on water glassing today. So under supplies, we've got a section on seeds and food preparation and work tools and containers and clothes and cleaning supplies. So there's a lot of information on the website. Do you know how long seeds will last and how to test their viability? Well, the website has an answer on that. Under the Foods tab, there's separate sections for all the major food categories. And how you store these foods can be very different, one category to another. For example, fats and oils are very hard to store due to rancidity. Under the Fats and Oils tab, there's helpful hints for how to store some healthy oils that can last as much as 2 to 5 years under proper conditions without going rancid. Although food production and storage is the main focus of this effort, lost skills is a secondary focus of both this conference and the website. We have gathered hundreds of helpful videos and have a tab where you can submit any that you find useful. Another show of hands, how many have been to the web video section of the website? Okay, a few. How many have submitted videos? Okay, great. How many of you have seen an awesome video on food preparation or lost skills? Everybody, just about. Well, so we could use your help. Submit videos that are exceptionally useful. And those, we are storing those on hard drives and should have access to them even if there's a power grid outage. On the website, there's a single video on butchering. We have one on butchering cows. But on our hard drives, we have stored many other videos, and they haven't yet been uploaded to the site. We have a video on how to butcher a deer and a pig, and how to fillet a fish, and how to butcher a rabbit. Well, this effort is for you, and I was asked to give a short talk, and this is what a short talk sounds like. I hope you'll learn today. That's why you're here. I hope you'll assess how you're doing, how prepared you are, how dependent you are on systems that are likely to fail. I hope you'll go home and leave this conference and practice some of the things you've learned. My wife bought 2 dozen eggs the other day. We have a dozen eggs in the refrigerator. We eat about an egg a week. So I'm going to practice water glassing so these eggs don't go to waste. And then I hope you'll contribute. Contribute in your local family, in your communities, in your fellowships, and even contribute to the website. Thank you.